Everybody, it's David again, coming to you from the same spot here in Seattle, Washington. I just wanted to provide for you some ideas on how to approach Lesson 1 in MSOM 601, and to give you some tips on what you should be doing this week. Okay, there are actually in this week, and this is the only week that you have this. You'll have two discussion boards. The first is an introduction. And make sure that you don't treat this as a throwaway exercise. This is an absolutely true story. One time in one of my master's classes, I had students giving their introductions, and they were very detailed, very good. And one student um, uh, had written down her introduction information, and another student contacted her and said, "Hey, my company is in the process of hiring a new position, and your background looks like the type of profile that we need in that position. If you're interested, reach out to me, contact me, and I'll give you the job description, the position information, and I'll forward your resume to the appropriate people if you're interested." Well, long story short, she did that and eventually was hired by that company, all based upon what the other person saw in her introduction. So please, please, please don't use the introduction simply as a throwaway exercise, because you never know, you might get a job out of it, all right? So introductions. The second discussion board question this week is really foundational. What I want you to do is to define critical thinking for me. Now, I don't want you to go out and do research on this. That'll probably be the only time in this course that you'll hear me say that, okay? Because most of the time research is key in master's level courses. But in this one, just give us your opinions on what critical thinking is. First thoughts, top of your head, no research, because that is the lens through which you are coming into this course in the degree program, and I want to know that. I want to know what your thought is on critical thinking before you go through the course and before you begin to read too much stuff, okay? So that is the second discussion board question. Remember, discussion boards have three requirements. First, you have to have an initial post that is in by Thursday night of the appropriate week. And then secondly, you need to have a minimum of 2 response posts to other students' posts. You're not going to see anybody else's post, by the way, until you post your initial post first. So you can't be waiting on anybody else to post so that you can look at how they did it. You need to provide your own initial post first before you have the opportunity to respond to 2 of your fellow students. And then the third requirement is just make sure that you're substantive. And by substantive, I mean meaty. And in subsequent lessons, full of research and details. Don't just put out opinions without support behind them. That's going to be one of the key elements of critical thinking and going forward. So there are 2 discussion boards in lesson 1, and then you have an assignment. And the assignment operates under this premise that critical thinking and problem solving are closely related, which is why the title of this course is Problem Solving and Critical Thinking, or Critical Thinking and Problem Solving, because they are tied together. And you're going to be presented this week with readings on a 5-step critical thinking process and problem-solving process called IDEAS. And so what I want you to do is to recap that process and then give me some idea on how you might apply that process. Remember, all papers must be written in the form of a paper: cover page, introduction, heading, and section, body headings and section, conclusion heading and sections, and then a reference page. Make sure that you cite all the sources that you use. We're going to work on APA as you go through this, but it's very critical to make sure that you have proper APA in-text citations and references that will show the reader, me, where you got your information and your sources. And then finally, you're going to have an automatically graded exam this week. It'll be 25 questions, multiple choice, take you 75 minutes. We give you 75 minutes to complete it. You have to do it in one sitting over the reading material in the textbook. So make sure that you do that. Everything is due by Sunday night, 11:59, except for the initial discussion board post. All right? If you have any questions or you don't understand this, make sure that you reach out and chat with me. I am always available. All right? Hope you have a great first week, and I'll chat with you soon. Take care.